Good morning. Today I will be defining interpretation, meaning, and then I'll take up his journey from the Vedas till Anandavardhan. The journey will include the centrality of language in the Vedas, and how it was related to interpretation and meaning. When I say Vedas, I mean the Sahitas, the Brahmanas, the Aranyaks, and the Upanishads. This journey will also include Bharatiya Darshan, especially Mimamsakas and Nyayikas. Those who have given the theory of primary meaning and secondary meaning, or what you say, metaphorical meaning. Then from them we'll come to the Indian aestheticians, how they have dealt with the theory of meaning. I'm reminded of Bhartrihari's statement. So before I start, let me share with you the statement made by Bhartrihari. Bhartrihari says that if you know only your language, if you know only your culture, what do you know then? One must know at least one more language, one more culture, other than one's own language and culture. Ironically, it's not there in India. So now that statement need to be reversed. Had he been today, he would have said that if you know one foreign language, one foreign culture, or one language and other and the culture of other country, then you must know at least your own language and culture. There's irony. Today, we know other language, other culture, but we are not aware of our own language and culture. Until or unless we know at least two languages and two cultures, we cannot contribute to the knowledge system. Even if we know other cultures and language, we cannot appreciate them. We cannot understand them properly if we do not know our own language and culture. There's a couplet, बंद आँखों को खोल कर देखो, उनके सपने निखोल कर देखो, दिलो दिमाग पर हावी रहोगे सबके गोश, अपनी बोली बोल कर देखो. So perhaps we need to know our own tradition. When we talk about theory today, immediately the West comes to our mind. It's not the fact. Theory does not mean the West only. There has been the language, the theory of language. There has been a theory of meaning in India since the very beginning. But we haven't studied because of our own system. The language or the theory of language, the theory of meaning, the theory of our, our systems, they are not in our academic system. They haven't been taught. We can study the Greek theories, Latin theories, French theories, Russian theories, and they are not in English. They are in translations. So when we study these theories, nobody asks us why we are studying them in translation. But if we study our own theories, especially Sanskrit theories, in translation, generally people ask questions. Why Sanskrit theories? But they forget that now translation has become a genre, and all the even Western theories are being taught in translation. Today, as I have already told you, the focus of my lecture is to hatch a journey of meaning and interpretation in Indian knowledge systems, the centrality of language in our Indian tradition, from Vedas to Indian aesthetic scholars, or say aestheticians, particularly, especially till Anandvardhan. So let me quickly first explain what does what the interpretation mean, or how it's working in our Indian tradition, how meaning is taking place, and how our ancient aestheticians, scholars have been conscious about interpretation, meaning, and the use of language. Every act of making sense of the reality of an object is an act of interpretation. And every act of interpretation of an object, whether it's internal or external, directly or indirectly, is the interpretation of language. Whatever we do, we are interpreting language. When I give you a message, you convey this message to somebody else. What you are doing? You are interpreting it. So meaning is conveyed, or even the knowledge of an object is conveyed through interpretation. This interpretation of language is the meaning of language. Thus, language is the central concern in life and literature. It's not the person or character or idea or thought that disturbs you or please you. It's the language that disturbs you and pleases you. So, language is very important, and there is a continuous flow of the study of language in Indian tradition. There are two important things to know about language. The number one, that it is the means of thought. Without language, no thinking is possible. We cannot think at all. And number two, it constructs for each of us things, experiences, emotions, and ideas by naming them. So we know the world through language. Imagine if we do not have language, what would happen? How difficult it would be to live, to pass on the knowledge. Just if I say, bring a pen, and I don't have any knowledge, just you can think how difficult it would be. So knowledge, because we are not conscious, it is because of automatism, we are sometimes not conscious about the importance of a thing. But a very small thing in life is indispensable. Once you start thinking, then we come to know, this very important. So with this, we know the things that are not present physically, we know about them through knowledge, through language. Someone says, bring a cup of coffee. So immediately I say, bring a cup of coffee. So I say cup of coffee. So cup, coffee, all comes to my mind. So image is there. Talking about chair, talking about friends, talking about teachers, talking about my village, house, your country, your mother, your sisters. So it's through language, image immediately comes before you. So language is very important. So true understanding or valid knowledge rests in the exact knowledge of what the linguistic expression means. So if we want to have true knowledge, valid knowledge, we need to have the language, the understanding of language. It's exact knowledge of even language also. The Indian thinkers appear to have a clear understanding of the twofold relation of language, of knowledge. And this is, number one, that it's through language that we know what we know. Without language, nothing possible. And number two, it is in language that we express what we express and what we know. So the whole system, all interaction, all interpersonal relationship, that is all because of language. But in knowledge systems, in India, this interpretation of language starts in a different way. It starts in the form of recitation. So suppose you are singing a song. So So, when you are singing a song, second person singing a song, third person singing a song, it's not just singing, rather you are interpreting the language also. You sing a song, you can so emotional. Oh, sing a song so emotional. But maybe you have a sentiment of love, sentiment of pathos, sentiment of or some heroic sentiment or laughter. So, one thing can be communicated in different ways even in music. So, in India, this has started with recitation. Once Max Muller said that if the Vedic knowledge or the Vedas are lost in India, Indians can revive it. Why did he say so? Because it's an oral tradition. We can revive through recitation as interpretation, and that was the tradition of our past. So, there was no written tradition, but that does not mean that we didn't have written tradition. In order to preserve, in order to interpret the text correctly, or in order to preserve them, the recitation was used, recitation of the Vedas was used. So, the study of language arose from the need to understand the large body of intellectual text, such as the Vedas and other words and other knowledge texts as well as literary text. The very strict and complex methods of instruction have made it possible to preserve the ritual chanting despite thousands of years of war, conquest and social upheavals. So, if you read the instructions about the chanting of Vedas, you would find that the Rig Veda is chanted on 3 notes, the Yajur Veda is chanted on up to 5 notes, the Samaved is chanted on 7 notes, and accordingly there are 6 main factors that need to be taken into consideration while chanting the Vedas. What are the things, what are the factors which need to be taken into account? Then they are word, phonemes, in order to have the pronunciation. Then we have notes, duration. So, it is very scientific even. If you know Indian music system, Hindustani music system, you can understand. So, a rag or stylistic singing, it becomes different immediately if you change the duration. So, on which notes, how much time you have to devote, that is very important about stylistic singing, about ragas. Similarly is there, so exactly their duration of notes. Then we have emphasis, that is your balam, emphasis, and then last is your punctuation. So, pronunciation, notes, duration, emphasis, continuity and punctuation. So, these are 6 variants, there are 6 factors which were instructed in the Taittiriya Upanishad to recite the Vedas. There are 2 ways of reciting the Vedas. One is natural, Prakrit, and second is artificial, modified, that is Vikrit. If you see them, I'll give you the feel of, how Indian notes are, Indian swaras, Indian notes of music, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa, how they are, working in them. And how, with the help of music, we can interpret them, we can preserve them. So here, we have two types of recitation, natural, artificial or modified. Natural, a kind of prodigious energy is expended. This prodigious energy, it's a vast, powerful and potentially surprising level of energy like that of galaxies. So if you recite properly, so a kind of energy is produced, energy is extended. And is transmitted. If you recite them, it has been done from one generation to another generation. So in this form, the words do not change their sequence. It is the natural recitation expressed by them. See, there is a hymn. So the way you just keep in your mind, sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. Here, so in natural recitation, just as it is we read. So this is the first kind of reading of a text. There is a hymn, Aushdhaya samvadante somen se ragya yashmai karnoti brahmanastam Rajan Paryamasi. This is a hymn. Nothing changed. It's just simply we are reciting. So this is first is your Sahita part or continuous recitation. So first kind of recitation is continuous. There is no change. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. That's there. Oshadhaya samvadante somen se ragya yashmai kranoti brahmanastam rajanya paryamasi. Then in pad part, there is no continuation. Second is your pad part or word for word recitation. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, dha, ni, sa. Aushadhaya, sam, vadante, somen, sah, ragya, yasmai, karnoti, brahmane, tvam, rajan, paryamasi. So each and every word is individualized, is spoken so explicitly, clearly, so one can easily understand. Then third is your word recited in pairs. Sare, rega, gama, mapa, padha, dhani, nisa. And here, now you can see औषधय सम वदन्ते सोमेन सह राज्ञेति राज्ञा यस्मै कृणोति ब्राह्मणं तम राजन पार्यमासी. So two words are there. So this kind of recitation, this kind of interpretation you preserve. Suppose you give a text. So, so you will recite it continuously. She will recite word by word. Third one recite in pairs. So then there is no fear, no apprehension of any kind of mistake. error, perversion in the text. So, whenever suppose if one forgets, so you can confirm it, oh yes, this is how we can do it. So, this was the natural recitation. So, it is just not only related to your Vedas. This was a kind of these instructions were used even in your academics, in sharing knowledge. I do not know how you were taught, but we were taught, in learning tables and all. So, we used to study right from 1 to 10, then from 10 to 1. Exactly the same. So, that music system, Indian music system is so scientific, so prevalent everywhere. So, this is also kind of, through music also we can interpret. So, first kind of interpretation that is there in Indian tradition, that is through music. Now, second type of recitation is Vikrit, that is modified or artificial. And these are 8 types. I forgot to start this. So, that is the third, where we have your modified and artificial. So, let me again see in natural or natural recitation, we have 3 types. So, first is your continuous recitation, sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, that is aushadhaya samvadante somen se ragya yashmai karnoti brahmanastam rajan paryamasi. This is just continuity. So, then second is your pad part or word for word recitation. So, you will be focusing on each word. Aushadhaya samvadante somen sah ragya yashmai karnoti brahmane tam rajan paryamasi. And in third one, that is your words recited in pairs, sare rega gama mapa padha dhani nisa. Here, so aushadhaya sam vadante somen sa ragya yashmai karnoti brahmanastam tam rajan paryamasi. So, these are the examples of natural recitation. Then we have 8 types of your modified or artificial recitation. That is second type, and they are jata, mala, shikha, lekha, dhajo, dand, rath, ghan. These are 8 types of recitation, artificial recitations. So, it will be repetition, it will be so time consuming. I will just give you one demonstrate. The first one, that is jata. How, suppose if jata has to be in jata form, we have to recite a hymn, a shlok, how we will do it. So, the same hymn is there. Let us see this. I will just come back to the original hymn is Aushadhaya samvadante somen se ragya Yasmai Kranoti Brahmanastam Rajan Paryamasi. Right? Now see, if it is in Jata form, it has to be recited. So now how it is to be? Then it should be, if I will take up the Hindustani notes, what will be the form? Sare re, sa re, ra re ga re ga ma pa, dha ni, ni sa. So this form, this alankar is used here. So how will you say? Aushdhaya sam samoshdhaya aushdhayam sam vadante sam vadante somen vadante somen sa somen sa ragya se ragyeti. Yasmai kranoti yasmai kranoti brahmane kranoti brahmane brahmanastam tam brahmanastam tam rajastam tam rajan paryamasi rajan paryamasi. So this kind of recitations were there. It was not, of course it was to preserve the original form of the hymns, but when you learn something, you start interpreting it different way. When I say sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa, they are not carrying any music, no meaning, but when we start using in a particular form with a flow, they start giving a meaning also. If you listen to ragas, they become so musical. You start dancing with them, and you start drawing meaning also. So recitation does not mean an entertainment, rather here intention is to interpret them. So here, so likewise, they are all, we have mala, shikha, lekha, dhwaj, dand, rath and ghan. These are all 8 artificial form of recitation, and their procedure giving, accordingly we can write them and learn them. So this you can apply not only for this Vedic recitation, anything you want to remember that can help you interpreting things. Then now we come to the centrality of language in the Vedas. That's the immediate concern, that how we had reflections on language in Vedic sources, in Vedic tradition. So if you study Vedas, Upanishad, Brahmanas, grammatical tradition or philosophical tradition, you would find centrality of language there. Focus on the concern about language. What is language? How it works? How does it convey meaning? How does it help in having interpersonal relationship? In Rig Veda, there is a hymn, through me alone all eat the food that feeds them. Each man who sees, breathes, hears, and the words is outspoken. They know it not, but yet they dwell beside me. Hear one and all the truth as I declare it. I make the man I have extremely mighty, make him a sage, a rishi, and a Brahmin. So now what is happening here? In the Rig Veda, goddess of war, that is Saraswati. Goddess Saraswati is speaking now. And it says that it is the language that makes a man a sage, a Brahmin, a common man. So whatever he becomes, so everyone becomes what he becomes through language. If we do not have language, so what it is the use of language decides the personality of a person. What kind of language you use? When you meet people, you try to know the location of the person, the personality of a person, the standard, the class of a person. So language is a central concern of human life. And that's why, in Indian thinking, they say that a person or character or a thought or an idea does not disturb you, does not please you. What pleases you, what disturbs you is the language. So language is style, language is personality. So, in Natya Shastra, Acharya Bharat, he focuses on the use of language. So language does not only mean in word, it includes your words, verbal expression, it includes your gestures, includes your dress, costume, and it also includes your emotions. And that's why it is the use of language that confirms the class of a person, what he is, what she is. Then again, in Taittiriya Upanishad, there is a hymn, we shall discuss, there is a statement, we shall discuss alphabet, syllables, speech, production, pitch and intonation. So that is in Taittiriya Upanishad. In Taittiriya Upanishad, the instruction is given. Sometimes, this is a misconception, it's a wrong assumption about Vedas, Upanishads, that they are religious texts. They are not religious texts, they are the text of knowledge. Then, there is one Upanishad, Mundak Upanishad. In Mundak Upanishad, there you see the third hymn, and instructions are there given about that there are three apara sciences, 6 Vedas, Rig Veda, Yajur, Sam or Atharvaveda, 6 auxiliary disciplines of the Vedas, phonetic, rituals, grammar, etymology, metrics or prosody, and astronomy. These disciplines are not para-knowledge, which is the means of moksha, the ultimate liberation. So it's not just we generally we get a wrong notion, wrong knowledge. So here moksha does not mean to enter into some metaphysical world. So even day-to-day life, when we are free, when we are free from ignorance, that is also a kind of moksha, liberation, freedom. Then in the next, he is talking about other details in your Aitreya Aranyak. Then we have Aitreya Upanishad, where he is talking about speech. Say in Aitreya Upanishad, this is the last hymn. Lord, may my speech rest in my mind and mind merge into my speech. O Lord, be visible and bring knowledge to my mind and speech. May the acquired knowledge never leave me, and with self-study I bridge this day and night. I will speak truth only. May the Lord defend me and my teacher. So this is how you can understand that how they are, the rishis, the disciples, they are talking, deliberating, discussing. So their main concern is the language. There are other examples from the Vedas. I will not read them, it's just to share with you. That how rich this Indian tradition is with the notions, with the concerns of language. So I'll just skip over and comes to the next slide. Just again in the next slide also, there are certain hymns and statements about speech. Here see the last one. In last one there is again related to speech, when Kontharvya says speech is united with breath, breath with blowing air, the air with the all gods with the world of heaven, then world of heaven with Brahma. This is the gradual union. By speech are Vedas composed, by speech these matters are strung, by speech friends are united. Now when we speak, breath is in speech, speech then swallows breath. When we are silent or in sleep, speech is in breath, breath then swallows the speech. They swallow each other. Speech indeed is the mother, breath the son. He knows this union obtains fame, glory, and all. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha, when we say, we are talking about in Indian tradition, even they are talking about this all in relation to the language also, language issues. So language is every so here later on we will come to know that how they are talking the breathing, the breathe, they are talking about speech, they are talking about at different places, all with the help of which later on the speech has been divided, classified as para, paschanti, madhyama and vaikhari, which help us understand meaning. Now we come to the next slide, and there you would be concentrating, you will be understanding, you will be having a deep understanding of language, how it works, how it is, how language unfolds the universe. And it's in a metaphorical way, the sage has defined that how language work, in the world, how it is a part and parcel, and even how it is omnipresent. It is present in the space, it is present in the directions, it is present in the sky, clouds, it is present in the body. So, body, space, they all have been discussed in relation to the knowledge of language. There is a in Rig Veda, it has been clearly mentioned in one of the hymns that language has cognition, or the hymn identifies language with all cognition, and it has been explained that language is naming. It gives names to object. You know this because this is chair, this is table, this is me, this is you. How do you know? You know because you name it. But how you name it? Because it's with the help of language. So, function of language is naming things, naming objects. So, when you name the object, you create that object. So, the function of language is also to create an object. And see how beautiful, how metaphorical the role of language has been explained in one of the hymns of Rig Veda. This hymn is Gauri Mirmay Salilani Takshate Padi Dvipadi Sa Chatuspadi Ashtapadi Naupadi Babhuvashi Sehashtadhara Purame Vyoma. Here suggestively, so English translation is, the sound of the clouds has been uttered, fabricating the waters and being 1-footed, 2-footed, 4-footed, 8-footed, 9-footed, or infinite in highest heaven. So, this is how, see now, how metaphorically, suggestively the language has been created in the Vedas. What is this? So, suggestively tells about space, tells about linguistic forms, tells about human body, and establishes a relationship among them. Since at present the concern is language, so the hymn has been explained in the light of linguistic forms. So, we will concentrate only the linguistic form, though metaphorically it also describes space and human body also. Now, see from the point of view of if we see from the point of view of language. So, what is this? What is Gauri? Gauri, articulate speech. So, here Gauri, articulate speech, single as the crude form only. So, first is just crude form, then ekpadi here. So, here is the Gauri. Gauri means sound, articulated speech, and ekpadi single as the crude form only. Then Dvipadi, double as declension and conjugation, that includes your inflection of nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and other word classes to indicate grammatical features like number, case, gender, while configurating especially refers to the inflection of verbs. And then we have fourfold: nouns, verb, prepositions, particles. Then eightfold or eightpadi as this I, 8 cases including the vocative, and the ninefold, that is navpadi. We now have with the addition of indexable. So, vocative we 8 cases and the last one is indexable. So, ekpadi, dvipadi, chatushpadi, ashtapadi, navpadi. So, these all are the forms of language. We can interpret them as space and the human body, but some other day we can do it. So, I come back again, you read, then we will see how metaphorically we can interpret this. Gauri Mir Mai Salilani Takshate Kapadi Dvipadi Sa Chatushpadi Ashtapadi Navpadi Vabubhushi Shashrakshara Parme Yoman. Here, Pad Takshati, this is one phrase. Pad Takshati, forming the water. It's a phrase, forming the water. How you should see that? Can you classify water? Can you create form in the water? Can you say? If it is water in the glass or in the ocean, in a river, whatever it is, it's water. It's the ocean, it's ocean. You can't draw line. This is ocean and this is river. So, all rivers are coming down to ocean, but you cannot draw a line of demarcation. Yet this is the water of a river, this is the water of ocean, or this is the water of that ocean, this is the water of that river. It all becomes one. But he says, it's through language we draw line of demarcation. We say this is a wave, this is a blue water, this is white water, this is green water. These are forms, but everything is water. But it's through language only. You can create forms. So, language, he says here that real significance here is the principle of Vak creates or fashions out the manifold forms out of the waters of the infinite ocean. What is the infinite ocean? Metaphorically using of ultimate reality. So, the whole universe, the whole reality is one. This is what philosophy tells us. The whole universe is one. We all are one. There is no demarcation. It's in your Advait, what I was talking to you on Advait. So, what is there on Advait also? No difference between one and all. No difference between me and you. No difference between me and the Brahman. So, we all are Aham Brahmasmi. We all are one. But why it so happens? Because of language. So, here it's worth noting that how creatively the phrase infinite ocean of reality that has been used. Then we come to the next one, next slide, that is again now coming to 4 kinds of language. You have seen the Vedas and the Upanishads, they are replete with reflections on language, emphasizing the centrality of language. So, here some more statements, examples about the centrality of language. Just now we read this. Next hymn, Chatvari Vakya Paripitam Padani Tani विदुर ब्रह्मणा ये मनीषिणी गुहा त्रीणी निहताम नंग्यंती तुर्ये वाचो मनुष्या वदंती. Here, 4 grades of speech. And first is, he says, those Brahmanas who are wise know them. Only Brahmanas know all 4 kinds of language. So here Brahmanas do not mean the Brahmins. Brahman means one who knows the Brahm. One who is acquainted with the Shabd Brahm, one who is acquainted with the mysteries of life. So, such people know all the 4 grades of language. Then he says, for them, for others, 3 deposit in secret. 3 grades are concealed. We fail to understand them and indicate no meaning. So, for common people, what are the 4 grades? Para, that is speech as unitary thought. Pashyanti, collecting breath sufficient for projected utterance. Then Madhyama, sequencing of speech and pushing the air column up. And 4th is Vaikhari, manifest or articulated. So, these are 4. So, only Brahman who have the knowledge of Shabd Brahma, who know Brahma, who are wise, who have wisdom, they understand them. Otherwise, for all of us, 3 grades, 3 types of speech, they are concealed. We do not understand them. We understand only one, that is Vaikhari, manifest, articulate. These are the 4 kinds of language which on the basis of which rather you say Bhartrhari propounded his theory of sport. He talked about, he explained how speech comes out, how meaning is there, how meaning is comprehensible, how meaning becomes comprehensible while these 4 gates are working in the mind. Then gradually we come to the time of Bharatiya Darshan, Indian philosophical systems, in which particularly the Mimamsakas of Bhatti school, Mimamsakas of Prabhakar school, and some Naikas. Naikas, they worked on language, they worked on the meaning of language. They propounded approaches to the study of the problem of meaning. What is the relation between the word and meaning? What is the relation between word and word, word and sentence, and how meaning comes out? They are divided in 2 groups. Some of them accept that word is real, while others say words are not real, and accordingly they have their approaches. So, first let us see first approach, that is based on the reality of words. that words are real. And here we have two theories, Abhitanvaya theory by the Mimamskas of Bhatt school and Naikas, and then Anvitabhidhan theory by Mimamskas of Prabhakar school. So, those who accept the reality of words are the Bhatt school of Mimamskas, the Mimamskas of Prabhakar school, and some Nyayikas. But they have different theories about the study of the problem of meaning. Abhitanvaya theory is accepted by the Mimamskas of Bhatt school, and Anvitabhidhan theory is accepted by the Mimamskas of Prabhakar school. Prabhakar and his followers denied that words convey a meaning except in the context of sentence. That words do not convey any meaning. They only convey meaning when they are in sentence, when they are in a context. So, if word does not have any context, it does not convey meaning. So, meaning is depending on the context of the, in which context the word is being spoken. So, though they are regarded, they regard words as real and actual constituents of language, they accept words are real, but still they say that the word cannot convey any meaning if they are not placed in a particular context. So, each word has a definite meaning, but it is also clear that the purpose of the word is to serve as a part of sentence. It is not in isolation. Suppose you are isolated, you are all alone, you have an importance so long as you are a part of a structure. You are in a family, so long as you are a part of family, you have importance. If you come away from the family, you stand open in a jungle, so you lose your meaning. If I keep these tables, chairs away from the room, then they lose their meaning. So, now this is a room, this is a classroom. So, the moment I say classroom, it has a structure. It has chair, table, laptop, system, students, teacher, windows, walls, fence, roof. So, whole this is, so everything we are interconnected. It is a structure. So long as we are a part of that structure, it carries a meaning. But the moment we are away from the structure, we lose its meaning. Similarly, they say, so every individual word, it is important, but in isolation, it does not carry any meaning. So long as it is a part of a sentence, so long as it is a part of a context, it carries the meaning. So, it is a reality. So, the problem is now for them, problem is whether this unitary sense arises directly from the collection of the words or indirectly through the recollection of meanings of the individual words that comprise it. So, meaning has, so that's very important. So, it is a direct approach or indirect approach. So, meaning coming directly or indirectly recollecting something. When I am talking to you, I say this is a table. So, it is directly conveying or it is based on some past recollection, past knowledge. So, its meaning is coming directly or indirectly. So, here This Arvitabhidhan theory, it accepts the former, that meaning is coming directly. That this unitary sense arises directly from the collection of words. But Abhitanava theory, it says that it's indirectly through the recollection of meanings of the individual words that comprise it. So, the two theories, right? Did you get it? One directly talking to you, meaning coming directly. Then second thought is on the base of the moment I speak one word, you accept the word, you listen to the word, and then some recollection there in your mind, and then you get the meaning. So, there are two theories. So, now let us discuss this Abhitanava approach, which was given by Mimamsakas of Bhatti school and some Nyayikas. The Mimamsakas of Bhatti school and some Nyayikas hold the Abhitanava theory, according to which first we remember the isolated word meanings, and then simultaneous collecting memory gives us give us word meaning, and then a simultaneous recollective memory gives us same as mutually connected. So, syntactically related word meanings constitute sentence making. In a sentence, each word performs the task of conveying its own meaning and stops with that. So, the syntactic relationship is not conveyed by words, but by the word meanings. Bhama in 6th century wrote a book, Kavya Alankar, and where she says that Kav is the togetherness of word and meaning. The same things out here he is talking about, that word and meaning. So, the syntactic relationship is not conveyed by mere words, but by word and their meanings. Here syntactic unity, what is the syntactic unity? Suppose we can understand by an example, by a phrase. I say the white cow. So, the word cow connotes cowness merely, and other word is white, which is syntactically connected with, it indicates its association with the quality of whiteness. So, cowness and whiteness, and as that is one, the words constitute a syntactic unity. So, cowness, so cow, white cow, so white is cowness and whiteness. When the both are brought together, then it becomes a syntactic unity. The second theory or approach is given by Mimamsakas of Prabhakar school. This theory is an advance on the Abhitanava theory, and according to this, the word themselves convey the connected sentence meaning gradually, step by step. The individual words do not convey any meaning except in the context of a sentence. So they convey meaning so long as they are in a sentence. And a word must always be associated with syntactically with an injunctive verb. So, the sentence is the unit of speech, though the word which is product of analysis form of sentence can be considered the unit of language. So, sentence is the complete unit, where when I say complete unit, I mean that it conveys meaning. If I say pen, so that is where you say, oh, this is pen, means you are talking about this object, but does it carry meaning? Do I want a pen? Do I want to give you a pen? We do not know. So, until, yes, it should instruct some kind of action. Sometimes in one word can become a sentence, that is fine. If I say help, I am drowning, and I say help. So, that is a complete sentence, because it is giving and passing an information that I need a help from you. You come and help me. Shut the door. So, action is there. You are being instructed. But when I say door, you can say, sir, door also has a meaning. What is the meaning? Door, darwaza, take fine. But then, what is the purpose? What will you do? So, until some action is being performed, it asks to perform an action. Then you say, yes, it is a sentence, it is giving us a kind of knowledge. So, one thing is that, so what they say, both the theories, they accept that the conditions for syntactic relations between words in a sentence are very necessary. And what are these? They say, number one, there should be a mutual expectancy, akanksha. If I say bring, so there is an expectancy. What? So, I will say bring pen. So, for conveying meaning, so first essential thing is mutual expectancy, then yogta, consistency, it should be consistent, and then proximity, third one is proximity, and also recognize the importance of contextual factors. Their contextual factors I will just come later, I will discuss with you. There are number of contextual factors with the help of which we know about the sentence. Until unless you know the context, you do not understand the meaning. Then we have two more approaches, and these are two approaches based on the fact that words are not real. Earlier now we were dealing with the theories, two theories which accept that words are real, but they are talking about context, they are talking about the unitary sentence without which they do not convey any meaning, we cannot have. So, words in isolation, they do not have any meaning. Here, say the words are not real, they are unreal. Now, they also have two theories, Khandpaksh and Akhandpaksh. According to Khandpaksh approach, a word is considered as an autonomous unit of thought and sense, and language studies are made on the basis of words. The sentence is taken to be an interconnected series of words or a concatenation of words. So, there are series of words. The words are isolated, individuals, but in a sentence they have a series, the relationship through series. And the second is your Akhandpaksh, where particularly Bhartrihari is very important there, who advocated this theory. And now there the fundamental linguistic unit is the sentence. he defines the sentence as a single integral symbol which is revealed by the individual letters and the words and comprise. The meaning is conveyed by the Vakisphot, the sentence considered as an indivisible and integral linguistic symbol, and the meaning conveyed in it is an instantaneous flash of insight or intuition, that is pratibha. He says, how you get the meaning? When sentence so, the fundamental linguistic fact is the sentence, and sentence is a single integral symbol. Earlier they say they are individual units, but serially they are in a sentence. He said no, no serial, no classification, no compartmentalization. It's a single integral symbol. And there, how we get the meaning of this integral linguistic symbol? He says, it is an instantaneous flash of insight. All of a sudden we get the meaning. It's a pratibha. He gives an example of, a spider. Have you seen a spider? How it weaves its web. It emits out its thread and weaves it. Does it go to any institution, any college, any university to take up any course and understand and know how to weave a web? No. How bee, when they weave, then they make bee hive. Do they go for any institution to learn? No. So this is, what is that? This is intuitive knowledge. This is pratibha. So same way, you understand meaning intuitively, institution. So is then instantaneous flash of insight. And later on, on this very idea, Anandvardhan propounded his theory of dhwani, suggestion. Now, let us see. Now we have three, coming to the language. In language, there are three word powers. Shabd Shakti. What are those Shabd Shaktis? Word powers. Abhidha, Lakshana and Vyanjana. Primary meaning, secondary meaning, and or metaphor you can call, metaphor also. Lakshana, Abhidha, Lakshana, Vyanjana, primary meaning, secondary meaning and suggested meaning. So both, that's very important, that Abhidha and Lakshana, primary meaning and secondary meaning, these two concepts, the theory of primary meaning, theory of literal meaning or theory of metaphorical meaning, they were given by whom? No. Primary meaning and secondary meaning, Abhidha and Lakshana, the theories were given by Mimamsakas and Nyayikas. Prabhakar, we have Prabhakar, then we have your Kumaril gave Tatparya, and then we have Prabhakar and some Nyayikas also. Because in Mimamsakas we have two schools, Prabhakar school and your Bhatt school. They say the essential nature of a word lies in its significative power. Significative power, that is what Shabd Shakti. word power. So that's the essential nature of a word. Every word has power. Which power? It should have either primary meaning, it has a secondary meaning, or it has a suggestive meaning. Abhidha, Lakshana, Vyanjana. And this significative power or Shakti is defined as the relationship that exists between the word and its meaning. So when the word is spoken, there is a ghazal by Jagjit Singh, and there is one couplet कि दिल ने एक ईंट से तामीर किया ताजमहल, तूने एक बात कही लाख फसाने निकले. So when a sentence is uttered, दिल ने एक ईंट से तामीर किया ताजमहल, तूने एक बात कही लाख फसाने निकले. So you spoke one utterance, you uttered a word, but it had multiple meanings. Why? Why a word has multiple meanings? Because of its word powers, because of its primary meaning, because of its secondary meaning. When you come to the class, I say come. It could convey, it could carry so many meanings. Suppose you are late, I say come. So I am making you conscious. Or maybe somebody sleeping in the room, in order to wake him up, I will say come. So it carries, the word carries different meaning. It depends on the intention of the speaker and also depends on the listener also, in what state he is. So let us first have this Mimamsa theory of natural relation between word and its meaning. That is, according to Mimamsakas, this significative power is inherent. This slide is not working. Okay, fine. So let us discuss first the Mimamsa theory of natural relation between word and meaning. According to Mimamsakas, this significative power is inherent in the words themselves. They are not concerned with the ultimate origin of relationship between words and meaning. To them, it is impossible to conceive of a society without language. We learn our language from our parents and elders. That is the natural. You learn your language from your parents learn from their parents, and this go on. So we cannot reach the origin. It's a continuous process. So it's a natural process of learning language. So we all learn language for our forefathers. Thus, it could be traced back to any conceivable period of human society. What the Mimamskas meant by the eternality of words and their meaning was that it is not possible to trace the origin of the relationship to a person. The grammarians also agree with the Mimamskas that the permanent nature of relation between words and meaning is to be understood from popular usage itself. So, it's all related, how we use it, how we carry the meaning, the context and other things. This natural connection between words and meaning has also been explained in the terms of innate capacity or yogta of words. Next is thus any word has the natural capacity to express anything, and this power is restricted by convention. So, next is now Nyaya theory of conventional relation between word and its meaning. This theory of natural relationship between words and meaning is rejected by the Nyayikas. Nyayikas do not accept natural relationship between word and meaning. Rather, they advocate the conventional origin of relationship. And here Gautam says that it is by the conventional significance that the meaning of a word is understood. The Vaiseshikas also take the same view. They assert that there is no direct natural relationship between Shabd and Arth, word and meaning. Then they make some argument also. That if there were any natural relationship between a word and its meaning, as between fire and burning, then the word should have been there before us. It should have affected educatively. Has there been natural relationship? If I say fire, then I would have been burnt. If I say tea, so tea would have come before me. So, this is not natural, rather it is conventional. Then another substantial argument brought out by them is that if words had a natural relation with the objects, that the same words should have meant the same thing everywhere. If I say cat here, but in Urdu it is not cat, it is a different word. In Hindi it is a different word. In French it is a different word. So, that is also, so this is not a natural relationship between word and meaning. So, they say the connection between word and meaning is not natural, rather it is conventional. Yes, but according to the later Nyayikas, however, this relation need not always be established by the will of God. Now, they have three theories. Earlier, they say, Mimamsa says that it is the will of God. But later, Nyayikas says that it can also be by the will of man. And then they define it as, then when they say that Abhidha is the will of God, so it is permanent. They call it as Abhidha, so it is permanent, they call it Abhidha, when it is the will of God. But when is the will of men, then it is not Abhidha, then it is paribhasha. They use two terms, abhidha and paribhasha. Bhartrhari also refers to these two types of relationship, and he says sanket is of two kinds. That is permanent or modern. So, former is permanent primary relationship, while the later refers to the technical terms with their specialized and well defined meanings coined by writers of various scientific works. Thus, in both these cases, the relation between the word and meaning is direct, but that is there, though they have difference on whether it is conventional relationship or natural relationship, but they say that the relationship between word and meaning is direct, not indirect. When the relationship is only indirect, being based on similarity or contiguity of the actual intended sense with the original primary sense, the relationship is called lakshana and guni. So, when it is direct relationship, that is your it is indirect. Indirect, that is your lakshana or secondary meaning. But when the relationship between word and meaning is direct, that is called your abhidha. Where, and this abhidha can be discussed in many ways. Now, these Mimamsakas, Nyayikas, the way they hold, they conceive the centrality of language, that they explain the relationship between word and meaning, that relationship has been explained by Bhartrhari, by other scholars, on the basis of the contextual factors. So, it is direct or indirect. So, we need to understand the context, and Bhartrhari gives these contextual factors, which are 14 in number. So, I will take up these factors after some time. In the next lecture, we will begin with. So, here, so till then, thank you very much.